Indeed a pleasure to see Shamik Mehta after a long time and Sonia Pelia. They're both my friends and they both are part of Maitri. Sonia is the president of Maitri and Shamik is the board of trustee. Let's talk about something that's very dear to all three of us, I know, is Maitri. I would say it is much more than just an organization. It is a family, it is a shelter, it is so many things to so many people. Sonia, what is Maitri to you?
It's a tribe of people who are passionate and committed about ending domestic violence, particularly in the South Asian community, but also taking a stance against the inequity, the injustice of gender-based violence.
To me, what Maitri really means is it's not an individual problem. It's not a one-person problem. It's a societal problem, and it includes all of us. So when we think about a client or a victim, irrespective of the gender, it's not just one person. There are children, there are parents, there are siblings, there are neighbors. And it's unfortunate, it's a generational problem. So my being part of that, it gives me an opportunity to bring it to the society and represent that we, the man or the male, are also part of the solution. And we all need to work together.
You know, to double click into what Shamik just said, it's a community problem. And one of the things that we have seen in the last 30 years is that men and elders and the youth, these are really critical allies, and they are really critical to solving this problem. If we say it's a generational problem, it's going to take all of us and all the generations to solve it. Right? It's not a problem where one person suffers and you say, well, you know, that was their karma, or that was their fault, or there was any of this blame that happens or tradition that happens. But what Shamik's point, I think, is so well taken is that when the community starts saying there's a problem here, and can we help you? Can Maitri help this person? How can we make this effective? That's when you see societal change happening on an amazing level. And 30 years later, we're there.
This pandemic has been a global struggle. How have you seen that affect families? Because, of course, it's in the media that domestic violence has increased.
So I think it's truly where you say this is a global problem. Every single person has experienced it at some level. But when you look at marginalized or you look at at-risk people, what the Time magazine cover said, it is a pandemic. Domestic violence is a pandemic within a pandemic. And the three things that we are seeing, and right now we are seeing, is hunger, poverty, and homelessness. Extraordinary levels of all three of these. If you look at the countries that are reporting out domestic violence, the numbers are astounding. 180% increase in emergency room visits. If you look at globally, it's a huge issue, but I want to bring it down to the Maitri level so people can understand what our clients are experiencing. Last year, our call volume went up by 40%. 95% of our clients, as soon as the pandemic struck and we were in shelter in place, lost their jobs. We have been funding rent, groceries, any kind of resources we need for this, literally 125, 130 women we work with every month. It has been devastating, but I will tell you something which is even more scarier, is that when shelter in place lifts, what is the explosion of help that will be needed? There are people who are sheltering in place with their abusers and they have nowhere to go. They have no place to call. They have no freedom to make a call, right? So what will happen once this shelter in place opens up? It is something that's we've been thinking about. We are really concerned about, like everyone else, including the WHO. We ourselves in our neighborhood see a huge issue arising for us. Here's the problem I'm going to tell you. When you're dealing with marginalized people, as I mentioned, we wanted to be able to disperse money, or we used to give grocery cards out, right? Visa cards or Safeway cards or Trader Joe's cards. The problem was many of our clients actually didn't have access to the internet. That was the most astounding finding that we had, because all along before the pandemic, they would come to the office or a volunteer would drop it to their place or meet them in a safe place and hand it over. And this was a really challenging situation. In order to file for a homeless shelter, you need to do an online application. If you don't have internet, you don't have a laptop, how are you going to do this? So the first 3-4 months of the pandemic was just crisis for us and crisis for the clients. The staff had to shift towards working from home, which was also a very huge problem because we were always used to being in the office supporting clients. We had support groups, as you know. We had a huge number of enriched programs, including we had therapy appointments. But now we couldn't do therapy appointments because of the safety issue. There was no confidentiality. So we worked through all of those problems. Our staff has been stellar. As you know, they've always been stellar, but this was a huge shift. We used up resources in order to provide the kind of emergency supplies they needed. We had some support from the counties and the cities and states. It is very difficult if we continue in this shelter in place for this year.
How did the clients reach out to you then? Like you said, it seems like a catch-22 situation where they don't have internet. How were they finally able to get a hold of you?
So the numbers from existing clients who had already left the situation skyrocketed, but new clients dropped. And so the ones we knew didn't have any internet or didn't have a laptop or didn't have a smartphone, they was able to somehow contact us through Facebook or a friend or somebody, or we reached out. There was a lot of workarounds. And I will tell you, it did take a toll on our staff also.
So talk to me a little bit, Shamik, about you being involved. I think it's great. You send a very strong message out there as a male being involved, and so intrinsically involved in Maitri. Did you have to face any kind of obstacle initially?
Initially, yeah. I mean, the people would say, well, come on, what are you doing there? You're there just because there are all the ladies. That's why you're doing that. So, I mean, it started like a kanaya, okay? That's how it started. So, yes, how society is. They don't come out and tell you in your face. They make a joke about it. And I said, I don't care. And I would play along or joke along. And I said, listen, that's where I would like to do and make a difference, or whatever difference I can afford to make. I think what has happened is, and a serious note is, people are realizing it's not just women. It's not, it's very easy to just brush it aside and say that, she was complaining, that's why he did that. I mean, that's a typical male logic comes into play. I think what is helping also is the mainstream media is picking up on this. And people are reading, like today is a perfect example. San Jose Mercury had an article, and it's a headline, that domestic violence, increase in domestic violence during pandemic. And the number that really hit me was 46% of the homeless women have experienced domestic violence. That's a staggeringly high number. So when we talk about homeless problem, you cannot just put it in isolation. As Sonia said, poverty, hunger, homelessness, they're all interconnected. So that's what we really have to worry about. So to answer your question, yes, it was difficult, but I think that interdependency people saw, the cause and relationship, and it's not an accusing part of it, that Maitri is not just blaming man for the problem. In fact, they're engaging men to solve the problem rather than blaming. So I think all these things have helped.
And in conclusion, Sonia, if you would tell our viewers, how can they help? Even, I know you have a gala coming up that we invite everyone to join virtually on March the 20th. Tell me a little bit about the gala.
So it's very unusual. It's our first virtual gala like everyone else. Also, we are not charging for registering. We actually are using this as an opportunity to extend our outreach to anyone who is interested in our work and to learn more. We have a fabulous lineup. Sharmila Tagore, who's been one of our very long-time supporters, is going to be on in an interview. Shubha Mudgal is going to be performing in collaboration with another group, Sandy Evans, who's a saxophonist. And we also have Tribhanga's director and some of the cast going to be appearing in a conversation. And for some of the younger people, we have Amy Shroff, who's a mixologist. She's considered to be the top mixologist in India right now. She's going to come and do some magic around cocktails and mixing and things like that. We have young performers. to address what Shamik has said, we have a very engaged youth community in the Bay Area, and they're going to be performing also. What we want people to come in and do is to join hands with us and say, this is a problem that is intergenerational, impacts every person in the community. And our goal is to have 1,000 plus attendees and hopefully raise $400,000. I think we can do it. We've done it in the past, and Shamik is very bullish on this, and so am I. It's an opportunity to come and meet people, come and discuss issues, and be responsible for our communities.
Sounds like a fun event as well. I want to see some of those cocktails being mixed and maybe learn a thing or two.
I will just state in one sentence. Please join us on March 20th for an evening of purpose and power, beauty and bravery.
Thank you, Shamik.
And also I'd like to mention that, well, it could be someone watching the show. If they know someone or they themselves need help, give us the number.
It's very easy. You can go onto the internet and search and email us, maitri@maitri.org. You can call us at 1-888-MAITRI. You can direct message us from Facebook. You can DM us from Twitter. We are on Twitter, LinkedIn. Find us, MAITRI. And please, if you know somebody needs help, do not wait. As Shamik says, we are all responsible for each other.
And I believe you also will help with different languages.
Yes, we speak pretty much all the South Asian languages, even the obscure ones. And if we don't, we will find somebody who will speak. But Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 3 a.m., the helpline is live and somebody will answer. You can leave a message in a safe time to call for us to return your message after that, and we will return your call within 4 hours. Please use any medium that's available to you to reach out to us. You can pass a message to somebody. As Shamik pointed out, we get literally dozens and dozens and dozens of messages a year from people who are just reaching out on the behalf of somebody else. If you have access to the internet, look at the website. We also provide referrals. So if you're out of state, we can connect you with an agency that's similar to Maitri in your geographical area. We also provide referrals in the home countries. But we also have a lot of other services that we can provide. And we would love for you to at least know your options. We cannot tell anyone what to do in their lives, but we can at least empower you with choices and education and say, here are some decisions you can make based on knowledge.
And these services, by the way, are all free of charge.
Yes, and confidential. We will not reveal to anyone if you call us. In fact, when somebody says to us at events, I know Shamik has experienced this too at a party, somebody will say, well, you helped my friend's daughter or my friend's cousin or something. And then we have to say, we can't confirm or deny if we help somebody that you're talking about. Absolutely. We are completely confidential. We really pride ourselves on that. I think it's a very difficult thing to reach out for help, and we want to make sure that we respect that confidence that you provide us.
Well, thank you so much, Sonia and Shamik, for joining us and for the wonderful work you do. And we hope to see you soon. And I'll be there for the gala for sure.
Good.